Okay, welcome back everybody to another stream of playing Minecraft while learning about life and growing basically. So in this episode, what we have planned is we're going to start a farm and do a little bit of fishing. I'm thinking about creating a fishing dock. But yeah, looking forward to that. But yeah, let me just get started. And yeah, let's talk about life and stuff. We got stuff cooking over here. We got iron. Damn, we got a lot of iron. And copper. And this guy. Yeah, the plans we got for this place is... This is easy because we got coal now. Coal trays. We can just quickly farm that up. And get up there, you know? And it looks like that's done. So what I'm thinking about doing is creating a fishing dock out of copper. I got some plans in mind, but I'll wait for you guys to see it. Don't want to spoil the fun. But yeah, let's go. This stuff. We're gonna let that cook for now. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share about life. So I'm just a college student trying to make it. This is my first year in college and it's been pretty good so far. Gotten started with making money and stuff. But yeah, I got very high dreams and stuff. But I just do this on the side. This is my side kind of stuff. I just do it like at the end of the day. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So yeah, what about life? What could I say? You know, life is life. There's not much to it. You just gotta act and go for it. That would be a nice area for fishing dock. Yeah, and I've been trying to grow this channel for a while. And yeah, I hope it goes forward. This is more of a entertaining thing. Just do it for 45 minutes a day max. You know? Yeah. Life update. I could give you guys a life update. School's going good. We got exams coming up. I don't know why I'm playing this game. Got a lot of stuff to do. This game should be the last thing on my mind, but you know, can't skip having fun. Well, you can, but let's try not to do that. Okay, so let me see here. I could create the wheat farm right over here, and maybe put animals over there. And then I could do a dock, a fishing dock, like right over. I want to make it like near the ocean, probably. That would be better. Should I do near the ocean? I think like over there would be perfect. Yeah, like right about there. Okay, so let's get started on that. Without any further ado. If you guys are new to the channel, this is a channel where I basically play Minecraft and at the same time also share a few lessons. It's usually, I usually play clips of other motivational speakers. We got Andrew Tate, we got Tristan Tate, we got David Goggins, all of those motivational speakers. But I don't really like motivation. This channel is not for motivation. This is just for when you're feeling, cause like I have it as well. Sometimes I like feel sorry for myself. I'm not doing the best in life, you know. So this is just for if you're just going through a rough time, just kick back, relax, watch the stream, and yeah, take a few lessons out of it. And I hope your life gets better. So, let's get started on this farm. I'm gonna probably play a few words of inspiration by. Today we're gonna play it by Andrew Tate, and it's gonna be with a therapist, him conversating with a therapist to see where that goes, because he has strong thoughts on therapy, and yeah, it could be useful for all you men watching, going through feelings or something. You know, it's good, but you need to control it. And the best way to do that by being stoic. So you gotta be stoic in life. That's a very important part of life. You can be stoic, you can do everyday things without really negatively impacting yourself. Because, you know, feelings do get in the way sometimes. You just gotta learn to control them. So yeah, let's not waste any more time. Kick back, watch the stream. I'm gonna get on with fishing docks and stuff. This is just a little fun I'm having. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. See you guys at the end. Like and subscribe if you like the content though.
You have some unique insights, and I thought it'd be an interesting conversation. A lot of people are asking me especially about my mental state and those kind of things post-jail. So I thought, well, my most interesting...
Because otherwise you're projecting things out that you may not be seeing reality totally clearly. That's the thing, right? Like, is there a way that you're not seeing things perfectly clearly?
Well, then we go back to what I just said about perhaps that's true, but if I measure myself purely on competence and purely on achievement, whatever I think and whatever I'm doing is obviously fantastic. So I'm very happy with the mindset I have. And then we go into the argument, which is a level deeper, is am I supposed to be happy? Am I supposed to feel good?
No, it's not happy.
No, of course, but this is what I don't understand about people, especially men in the world today. Why are they so worried about being afraid? Why are they so worried about, I was afraid every time I fought.
Yeah.
I fought anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't let fear guide what I'm gonna do. I do what I'm supposed to do regardless of how I feel. So I don't see anything wrong with feeling fearful. I don't see anything wrong with feeling stressed or under pressure or anxious. All these things men are trying to get rid of. And I talk about men specifically. I gender this because I'm a man. I don't know how it feels to be a woman. But all these things that people are trying very hard to get rid of from their brains, I don't see why they need to leave. I will argue the point that if I feel anxious and pressured and stressed and fearful, I will get more done than if I was happy. I think if I was happy, I'd just be hedonistic and just wasting my time. I think that you get a whole bunch done with these negative connotations and negative emotions, and I think that life is suffering and pain, and you're here to go through it, and the sooner you get used to the taste, the more successful you're going to be. I have no interest in trying to change the flavor, my friend. The flavor of life is pain, and I will eat all of it. And it doesn't matter if they put me back in jail or not. I'm not sitting there going, how can I be happy in jail? I will sit in jail and say, yes, this sucks. It's supposed to suck. Yes, I'm not enjoying this. Yes, I'm anxious and paranoid. And yes, that guy might stab me. And yes, I can't sleep and I miss my family. And this is what's supposed to happen to me. And this is how I become the best man I can possibly be. And I'm going to succeed regardless.
You're very convincing. You're so good though, right? It's almost like I feel like you can rationalize anything, right? It's almost like a trick.
Magic trick?
Well, you're really good at talking, you're really smart, and it's almost like any question you can turn and make it work for you, which is great. It's a skill, but there's also a place where there's the potential for self-delusion.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I'm not delusional to a degree. I'm not saying that self-delusion doesn't exist. We all are, right? Let me give you a very simple example. Let me try and use an analogy. I think the only thing better than having everything you want is not wanting anything, right? So I have every car on this planet. I have 40 supercars. Most people want a supercar. I have 40. But there's that unique 0.1% of people who genuinely don't want one. And I think that's more freeing than having everything you want. If I can't stop him from punching me, and I'll do my best, but if I can't, then surely you should learn to enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can stop life from hitting you, and I don't think you can stop life from giving you unexpected surprises, and I don't think you can stop yourself from feeling sometimes sad or anxious or upset. So I think the best mindset you could adopt is finding that engaging and exciting. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie to you. Although I am facing very serious charges, and although they are trying to destroy my life, and although I cannot sleep the same, and although they're out to get me, and although I've suffered, part of me is excited. Part of me is like, Okay.
Why?
Because it's a war.
You like war?
I think all men do.
I do.
Yeah, of course, all men do. So it's a battle.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. So I'm not saying I'm glad it happened, because I'm certainly not. And I'm not saying I'm going to win. But I'm saying that I've trained myself to the point where if I were walking down the street and 10 men were to pull knives on me, I'd be intimidated, but 20% of me would go, this will be one to remember.
Do you have a belief that you could take 10 men with knives?
I have a belief that, yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's delusional.
That's delusional.
Yeah, but it gives me a best chance of possibly winning.
Well, no, running away would give you the best chance of possibly winning, then coming back and being safe, and then serving out your mission.
Of course, I would run away in that scenario. But if I had to engage them, if I had to engage them,
right.
If I had to fight them, I believe I'd be the most capable if I believed I could win.
Of course.
So for that reason, if I have to self-delude, then I will self-delude, and I will convince myself that I am here to destroy all 10 of them, and I will say it in a way where at least 7 of them believe me. Mm-hmm. And that's the most important part sometimes about all of this self-delusion, is that a lot of other people start to believe what you say. And I'm not saying that I say bad things. If a man were to sit in front of you and say, I can rip your head off with my little finger. Oh no.
Or are you just like a victim of the Matrix?
No, I'm not a victim. So absolutely everything is, I believe.
In some way you're a victim.
Completely, but I believe in self-accountability.
Sure.
I could have prevented this.
Well, how did you co-create this? If let's presuppose you did.
I created this by being monumentally successful.
Right.
There's no light without dark. Equal and opposite force.
But you said you were excited about it, so maybe there's some way you actually wanted this.
I didn't want this. In fact, I had conversations with Tristan for a long time, and I kept saying Icarus to him. When I would decline certain podcasts, I would decline meeting certain famous people, I would decline talking about politics, I would decline things, and I would keep saying Icarus. And he would say, why are you doing this? And I just reply Icarus. Because I knew if I got too big that they were going to come for me. I knew that. So I tried to balance it, and I felt like I did a pretty good job, but unfortunately I got it a little bit wrong. My fault. I got it wrong. I put myself here. Mm-hmm. But I also don't believe that there's any light without dark. It's yin and yang for a reason. I don't think that I can just become the most Googled man on the planet and become monumentally successful and make hundreds of millions of dollars and nothing bad's going to come from it. I think that would be hubris. You just used the word hubris. It's a fantastic word. I think it would be stupid for me to sit there and go, I should be able to do all of this good and have a fantastic life, and there's going to be no repercussion in any form. Mm-hmm. I knew this was coming to the point where I literally sat with Tristan about 3 weeks before it happened and said, we're fucked.
So why did it happen?
It happened because I became monumentally successful and I became monumentally influential, and the world is a battlefield.
You did create it. In some way you co-created it. Completely. Like you knew this was going to happen. And so there may be some way unconsciously you wanted it to happen. Like if you're on this hero's journey and you're living this big life and you have a big vision for yourself. I mean, you bring up guys like Genghis Khan, and I think that's kind of appropriate, because in another era you probably would have been one of those cats, right? So now we're here, and maybe you need this in some way, need this test to really feel yourself, to know how strong you actually are. I mean,
I know what you're saying. I don't think I need the test. I do feel like I need to tell the truth. I do feel like
what's the truth?
The truth is,
the truth about the Matrix?
Yeah, what I believe. And I do believe that I have a responsibility because of my massive platform. Yeah. And I do believe that the responsibility is for me to do my best to educate people in a way that's going to make them happy. Mm-hmm. And I know I could have sold my soul 1,000 times, and I know I could have avoided this, and I know I could have not said certain things, and I understand all of that. I wasn't looking for a war this large. I wouldn't say I was looking for it. But I wasn't ignorant to the fact that it might happen, and I wasn't afraid.
You didn't do anything to avoid it, though.
I did a lot to avoid it.
You did?
Icarus. I must have said it 1,000 times. Right. I could have made it much worse.
Yeah.
But I was never afraid of it happening. I think there's a difference between knowing something bad might happen and taking the calculated risk and going, this is my journey for truth, and this is what I believe is what I should do, and being afraid of something. Like, I understand if I go into the ring, I might lose. But I do believe 93% chance I'm going to destroy him.
Well, and you want the fight, either way.
I guess so, because how else do you matter, right?
That's my point.
And I'm not saying that I'm glad I'm being persecuted for false human trafficking inside of Romania. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that...
Yet, on the other side of this, how strong will you be? Stronger than you could be otherwise, that's for sure, and have more power and influence otherwise.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's the Nelson Mandela.
Completely. And
now, I wouldn't want to spend fucking whatever amount of time in jail. That sounds fucking scary, but It's not uncommon for heroes.
Well, exactly. And if you take the lessons from it, and if we want to once again talk about being as formidable as possible, then I don't think jail, okay, it's given me nightmares, but I don't think it's made me weaker.
No.
And it could have easily made me weaker. I could have gone through the exact same experience with a different mental model and emerged weaker. I believe I've emerged stronger, regardless of the fact that I have nightmares. I didn't have nightmares before, now I do, but I still see myself as a stronger person. That's one more thing I no longer have to fear from an unknown perspective. I know exactly what it's like. I know the best ways to deal with it, which I developed within the 3 months. And if they put me back, I know what I'm going into. So that's a unknown area of the map explored.
Yes.
And I don't want to go, but I do believe that I'm more powerful than ever. And you have to find the good in it. That's absolutely not for sure. But I don't think I want to be very careful. I don't think I was looking for this fight. I'm finding the good in this fight. I believe that my fight actually has far-reaching repercussions for society now. I think that however this plays out is going to affect society in real time. I wasn't looking for it, but I was never...
Did you attract it in some way?
Well, if you are a force for good, then the evil is going to attack you, isn't it? And I do genuinely believe this is the battle of good versus evil in the world today. I believe that truth is always going to be on the side of good. I am religious. I believe the things I say most people knew were true only 10 to 15 years ago. I don't think they're radical ideas. And I think that there is an evil force in the world which is extremely deceptive. And they are out to try and silence me. Not because what I say is wrong. It's in fact because what I say is right. I believe the reason I have so much influence and the reason so many young boys listen to me and pay attention to me is because I say things that are true, that they know intrinsically, evolutionarily, inside of their bones as true. That I say things which work. People often wonder why my fan base is so feverish, why my fan base is so dedicated. Well, if they listen to me, it's the first time they ever feel good. The first time they ever train hard and start to feel better physically, and they start to feel better mentally, and they adopt my mental model, and now they're not stressed or depressed anymore. And then they may start to make some money, and they go, you know what, I started listening to Tate a year ago. I'm in the best shape financially, the best shape physically, the best shape mentally. Tate's the man. So they're hyper dedicated to me. And yeah, I mean, there's going to be a negative to that. I want to make something clear. I've been brutally aware of the fact that all of this might blow up in my face for a very long time. I've not been ignorant to that. And I think that's why jail didn't cause me pain, because I wasn't in jail like, how did this happen? I was in jail thinking, they got me. I knew it. They've been after me for a long time. I knew they were coming. And I don't know if that's a coping mechanism, but I was saying on every single podcast before I went to jail, they're going to try and put me in jail. I knew it.
Right, right. You said that there's a light and a dark. Is there darkness in you? I mean, there must be.
There's darkness inside of everybody.
Right, and do you know that part of you? Are you in relationship with it? Do you think about it?
That's a good question. First, I have to identify what would the darkness in me be.
Well, let me present something to you, because I stood up for you after you got canceled off social media, and I have a lot of female clients, and they had questions about that. I mean, they know me and they trust me, so they're curious. Yeah. But one of them said, "Well, you know, Andrew he's out there saying that he's helping all these young men, but in the beginning, he made his millions in some level exploiting these very men." Okay. That's the frame that they were thinking about it. And is there validity in that, in what they're saying? Because I didn't know how to answer that question.
I don't think I exploited the men. I think I exploited, maybe I did exploit the men, but let me change my answer. I don't think me not exploiting them would have prevented them being exploited. I think these men were out to be exploited regardless, whether I did it or not. So,
but you can see how that sounds cynical to somebody, where you say, well, they're going to be exploited anyway, so I'm going to make money off them. And then once I make money off them and I get this platform, then I'm going to champion them. Completely.
I mean, I guess that's probably one of the most logical arguments against me I've heard. Then we have to argue whether I was really exploiting them, which is another argument, right? Absolutely. Because a lot of these men, the only reason they didn't kill themselves is because they had an online girlfriend. Sure. So I actually think that webcamming and girls as a whole is closer to therapy than it is porn. Truly, these men are completely miserable, and the only joy they have is logging into that website. So I don't think I did exploit them. The reason I said the fact they're going to be exploited anyway, it's very similar to having an alcohol store. Let's say there's 3 alcohol stores in a row, and all of your customers are alcoholics. Well, if you close your alcohol store, what happens? They just buy at the next store next door. Right. They're still going to be an alcoholic. You're not saving anyone's life. Right. But I don't think I necessarily exploited I didn't see myself as exploiting them or exploiting the girls. I don't think that. I think it was a business opportunity, and I approached it the way I approach everything, which is extremely professionally, and I got good at it, and we had a very successful company. Everybody was happy, including the men at home and including the women who all became millionaires. I've turned more women into millionaires than I've turned men into millionaires. So,
but maybe that's the reason they're coming after you, because they feel in that a contradiction, and they're not buying your story. Right? They don't believe it. They're like, oh, this is an act. He's not genuine. He's actually out for himself. Right? Well, and so that's the place that they want to get you. Because there's definitely an energy out there. They want to get you.
Oh, no, they're out to get me.
Yeah.
And
it's
I don't think that's the reason why, though.
Well, depends who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the Matrix. I understand why they're, and you've talked about that a lot in podcasts. We could talk about that, you know, because you are speaking a lot of truth, and you're confronting all the lies in the culture, and you're speaking against the most powerful forces in the world. But individual women, let's say, they're going to look at what you're doing, a lot of them, and a lot of them, you know, they're completely insane, and they're looking at these little clips, and they're distorted in their own feminism, and maybe unconsciously they can't reconcile to the fact that they would actually want a man like you. I think that's a lot of what's going on. It's like projection.
I'd agree with that.
You know. Nevertheless, there is an energy that's like they want to get you. They want you to be punished in some way.
Yeah.
And so, like, how do you, like, what do you do with that? How do you deal with that? Like, how do you answer to that? Like, if that woman was sitting here, what do you say to her?
Yeah, I would say that her argument, to a degree, is a logic fail. Let's take it away from webcamming.
It's a female logic.
Don't be a misogynist.
There's your blind spot right there.
Don't be a misogynist, but that's like saying because
well, it's not misogyny. You know?
No, of course, but that's like saying because you've ever eaten a steak, you don't care about animals.
Right.
Effectively, right. What she's saying is because he had a business in which some man may have felt exploited at some point, he doesn't care about humanity, which is a logic fail.
Yeah.
Because anybody who genuinely gets out in the world and looks for truth and looks to be successful and is tenacious and is brave agrees with everything I say. Mm-hmm. So I don't feel pain when someone sits and says garbage about me, because I believe that their mind is already suffering because they're not free. Mm-hmm. Their mind's not freed. Anybody who can listen to what I say long enough and not be emotional about it and actually understand it, well, those people aren't paying a price. So maybe that's a coping mechanism, but every single time I see a woman who hates me or a man who hates me, and I compare them to the people who like me, there's a massive contrast in overall physical attractiveness, success, financial success. Like, it's amazing. Sure. So it's like, okay, well, my haters are way down here, and the people who agree with me are way up here, so let them hate.
Maybe they just resent you.
Of course, not maybe. I think a lot of the reason this is happening to me is, and maybe this is arrogant, but...
Are you arrogant?
I'm with the therapist, so I'm allowed to be arrogant, right? A lot of the reason this is happening to me is because I'm tall and built, muscles and cool cars and, you know, smart. People don't like me. There's people who look at me and go, he thinks he's too cool. Teach him a lesson. There's a massive amount of resentment involved in all of this.
Yeah.
Even from the Matrix itself, we talk about the Matrix and I talk about it and people, you know, of course we compare it to the movie. But at the end of the day, there are people, moving parts in all of this. There's a prosecutor, there's a judge, there's a lawyer, whatever. Mm-hmm. Someone is sitting in an office who gets a piece of paper saying, destroy Andrew Tate. Mm-hmm. And that person looks at my life and compares it to theirs, and they feel resentful. Mm-hmm. And then they go, okay, let me use every power I have to try and destroy this man.
Right.
If my life wasn't so aspirational is a word you can use, but if it also didn't tick nearly every single box in regards to every teenage boy's dream, I think that they would be a lot less interested in trying to hurt me.
Right.
They're trying to hurt me because of the things I have and what I can do. Mm-hmm. So there's a massive level of resentment in all of it. And I also think the people who dislike me a lot of it's resentful. It's either weaponized virtue or resentment.
Right.
Especially weaponized virtue. Let's talk about that. Because whenever I have a hater online, it's funny, people who hate me in person are very respectful to me. It's very strange. Isn't it weird how the bottom line of humanity is always going to be physicality? When they meet me, they shut up.
Sure. Keyboard warriors are very tough.
Of course. But online, it's very hard to say I'm stupid. It's very hard to say I'm not successful. It's very hard to say I'm fat. It's very hard to say I'm ugly. It's very hard to say I'm not charming or I'm not charismatic. It's very difficult to attack me with anything other than the fact I'm a bad person. Mm-hmm. He's all these things. He's perfect in nearly every metric, but he's a bad person. Yeah. Right? So how do you do that? Well, you take a virtue and you weaponize it. Misogyny, homophobic, whatever it is. They pretend they care about the subject when they don't. And they put it into a bullet and they shoot it at you. And it's weaponized virtue. It's not genuine virtue. These people who are saying I'm a misogynist don't care about women or care about combating misogyny. They just want to try and hurt me with it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Or the second thing is genuine resentment. Yeah, I remind them of the guy who picked on them in school.
Yeah.
Or the guy who fucked their girl, took their girl off them. And they don't like me for it. But that's not my problem. That's their issue.
Are you defensive? Is that like a defensive posture? Is the way that you can be?
I really want when I.
Are you open to these people?
No. And when I talk to you, I want.
They want you to be open to them.
This is what I think it is. It's like you are the man. It's like you are the daddy. It's just like, why are you being so mean to me? Why are you fucking yelling at me? I want you. I need you, brother. Like, show up in a good fucking way. Where are you? Like, that's what's going on for them emotionally.
Perhaps.
Yeah. And so do you have a responsibility in that place to transcend the place you are in to really fully realize your leadership? You know what I'm saying?
That's a very good question. And when I'm talking to you, I want to be as honest and vulnerable as I've ever been. I'm trying to be as vulnerable as I can be.
You're doing great.
But also, so let's talk about these people who resent me the most, or these people who disagree with my message.
What's it like for you to be vulnerable? What's that word even mean to you? How do you relate to that word of vulnerability?
That's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know how I relate to the word vulnerability.
Well, you are vulnerable.
You can't put yourself out in the world like this to be seen. That is a vulnerable act. Getting into the ring with another fighter where he might kick your ass, that's vulnerable. That's intense vulnerability.
I think emotional vulnerability, nearly at every form, at every level, is basically a form of manipulation. So
Maybe that's just how you experienced it growing up.
Perhaps.
Was your mother emotionally manipulative?
No, but if a girl cried in front of me, I believe she'd be trying to get an out. I don't think it's just because she feels bad. I think it's because she's trying to get a reaction from me. And I think when men cry to their wives or whatever, a lot of it is trying to inspire sympathy from her. I think a lot of emotional vulnerability to a degree
I would argue that
is all manipulation.
Like then that would indicate that in some way that you are manipulating.
We all manipulate each other.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you're seeing manipulation in others, that must also exist in you. And I guess that's the question. Is there a way, right? Like, can you actually not be manipulating? And manipulating is a strong word. It has a negative connotation, but like in some sense, trying to control. Because one of the things that I find in this conversation, right? It's like, I mean, I actually think you're going along with my line of questioning really well. Like, you're not trying to control everything, but there is a way, right? That you have a tactic. You're trying to control things. You're trying to get away from something. You're trying to control the conversation on some level.
Of course.
But what if you gave that up?
Well, okay.
Give it up. Give it up.
I'm trying. I'm trying to be as vulnerable as possible. But when we
like just the idea of it, right? Like what would happen if?
Let's do it. I'm trying my very best. Old habits die hard.
But don't worry about the result. Just ask yourself the question, like what would happen if you let go of trying to control everything? Just feel into what that would feel like.
But that goes back to the point about what vulnerability is, because I don't think humans are as emotionally incontinent as they pretend to be. And I believe that when you truly feel pain or truly feel trauma or something really bad happens to you, the result to that is usually silence. I don't think...
Alright guys, looks like we're done basically. Just taking the thumbnail of this video. Turned out pretty good. I like it. I put a farmer there, so you know, efficiency. So yeah, that's I couldn't get the fishing dock done. I'll do that probably another day. But yeah, we got this farm done. Next episode we're gonna go fishing dock. And yeah, I hope you took out great lessons from this video. And best of luck to your life, guys. Take care. See you on the next episode. Subscribe and like if you liked the video.